All right, welcome everybody to Meet the Sponsors. Today we have arguably one of the most experienced guests on the show, Lawson Malika with AEM Performance Electronics. Lawson, if I remember correctly, I think you've been with AEM on and off for over 20 years. Am I right with that?
Pretty close. Yeah. If you count,
Tammy, you want to switch to
if you count some of the agency work, I took a little sabbatical there and spent a couple of years doing business development for an agency, but AEM was our client. So if you add all that up, about 20 years. Yeah.
Right on. And now, how many sponsorships, just roughly, would you say you've seen over the years? And then I'm going to lead right into how many sponsorships do you have now, roughly? And I know that most people don't know the exact number.
Yeah, I've got a pretty good idea. Oh my gosh, thousands. 20 years is a long time. And when you consider 9 of those years, we had a hard parts division where we had, AEM induction and headers and exhausts and those types of things. So the world was different. We had print media was king.
Yes.
So the marketing was done a lot differently. And during that time, we had a wider swath of sponsorship. Car shows were huge, hot import nights and import show off and things like that. And we catered to the sport compact performance and import performance markets. So now we don't have nearly as many. We have we're highly specialized performance electronics, data acquisition, and supporting components, high flow fuel, stuff that you tend to find when you're tuning a car that you're lacking, like spark and fuel and stuff. So we filled those lines in. We have water methanol injection. The majority of our products are racing, save for our data act stuff and data visualization, gauges and dashes and sensors. And most of it's universal, which is great because you can put it on anything. The challenge from the marketing side is that you can put it on anything.
Right.
So where do you go with it? And how do you penetrate that into every single market? And the short answer is you can't. So over time, we've developed some methodologies and strategies with not only our advertising and our various marketing efforts, but also within the realm of how we do sponsorship and who we work with.
And so most of your sponsorship, actually, I think all of your sponsorships are in kind, whether full in kind or partial in kind. You do not have financial sponsorships like many endemic brands because you make racers perform better. So it's the performance that you're looking for, not necessarily the marketing of that. You let the performance speak for itself through the racers. How is an in-kind sponsorship structured at AEM, whether it's partial or a full in-kind sponsorship, which just means a product sponsorship for those guys who don't know what in-kind is?
Yeah. So I'm sure a lot of people listening or watching right now are very familiar with the various terms of sponsorship. But if you're new, there's generally 2 types. You have a financial sponsorship, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's money. And then you have an in-kind or a product sponsorship, which is product in exchange for deliverables on that marketing agreement. And we do in-kind and we do fulls and partials. And what we look for is, I guess the answer to that is, depends on what the objective is. So, one of the great things about racing is racers are racers and they want to win, they want to go fast, and they're definitely going to look into other people's pits and see what they're running. And so if you're working with teams that are well put together, that are successful at the track, or that budding team that just needs a little bit of help to now take that next step and be competitive or maybe achieve that championship status, which is, somewhat of a halo type of a sponsorship, really, or the holy grail sponsorship, right? When you take that guy who's almost there and you're able to kind of help them achieve that championship success. That's an amazing story, and I think a great testament to what we make here and what the racer is able to accomplish with it. But So that's the boots on the ground stuff, right?
Right.
But we look beyond that. It's, we're not, hey, run our parts and throw a sticker on the car, and we're going to hope for the best, and we're hope you out there talking with us. We expect deliverables. We live in a digital world now, and I think it's for anybody who's seeking sponsorship, start building up your profiles. Where do people go for information today?
Right.
Where do people spend their time? I challenge any, go, if you have an iPhone or any kind of phone that's tracking your usage, go take a look at how much time you're spending on social media, and then extrapolate that out across the world. People are spending a lot of time on social. They're going there for information. They're going there to aspire from other people's accomplishments. This guy has my car, only he's built it, and I love what he's done. What's he done? What can I learn from him? So we're looking for those types of things. But let me back up for a second. So on the racing side, really, we look for racers who represent themselves well. I'll also qualify that we're not looking, we're not only sponsoring championship teams. What we're looking to sponsor are winners. That doesn't necessarily mean the guy in the winner's circle every week. It means the guy who is well respected, is well trusted, works hard, competes, plays to win, goes to every race prepared to win, to do his best. We race. Everyone in this building has either raced, still races, or supports some kind of racing in some kind of series. Practically, cool. I mean, we got a couple of accountants and things like that. They're not necessarily racer people, but our engineering staff,
they have
e-racers
staff, is what they have.
Our tech support staff, our upper management. We've all raced. Everybody has some type of performance or racing background here. And so we get it. But that doesn't mean you want to ghost your sponsors when you don't do well. We still want to hear from you. We want the photography. We want the videos. We want the story. We want to be able to tell people what we're doing, what challenges you've had, and how you plan to overcome those things. So it's really that relational elements and being able to deliver on that stuff. So put really simply, assets. Think about your racing program beyond just, I go to the track and I've got sponsor stickers on my car, and if I win, then they get their picture maybe on a handful of websites or social media posts. This is more of a, hey, I've gone to the track, win, lose, or draw. I have developed what happened into a story this weekend that I can tell. I can share some anecdotal thing, hopefully, ideally. And I know this isn't easy to do, guys. This is why maybe it helps to have somebody who has more of a marketing mind to capture all this stuff when you're actually wrenching and trying to get ready for the next round. But is somebody taking a look at, if you're having a problem with a part, or you're having a problem with a car, was something that you're sponsored with, was that able to help solve your problem at the track? That kind of story goes a lot farther for a company than, did I make the winner's circle, believe it or not.
Right. Because that's a shareable story too.
It's a shareable story. And the reality of it, for all of you out there listening, is companies spend a lot of money on advertising and marketing, and we back up. At AEM, we don't make a claim unless we've validated it. We've got dynos, we do third-party independent lab testing, all of that. Doesn't matter. People are still going to take our claims with a grain of salt. Who they want to hear it from is you, because you don't work for AEM. You've chosen to use our products, and if that product is working for you, there's a higher level of trust with that messaging coming from you. And that messaging is hypercritical in today's world. Look at Amazon. Who goes on Amazon and buys anything without first looking at how many stars it has, and then going through and taking a look at those reviews? It's the same kind of thing for your sponsors. You need to be telling your sponsor stories, or at least you need to be telling your story and figuring out where the context of that relationship fits into your story. Those are the types of things that are going to develop a long-term relationship with your sponsor recipients, or with your sponsor companies. Putting on the sticker, sending a couple pictures at the end of the year, probably aren't going to get you a call back the next year.
Right. Right. So you have AEM has a very descriptive website that tells how to get a sponsorship and how to be considered for a sponsorship. You actually give instructions and you say, this is what sponsorship is. This is what we're looking for from a sponsorship. These are the types of sponsorships we have. If you can satisfy any of our needs, let's talk. And I like that because it really alleviates a lot of the uncertainty. You're telling racers before they even approach you what it is that you are looking for and how they can approach you to hopefully best satisfy some of your objectives. One of them being ROI and another being content. But what is more important? Is the return on investment? Because you're a B2B company, not B2C. It's a little harder to calculate ROI.
Well, yeah, you just hit a lot of things. So let me back up because I owe you an answer. We're working with about 38 different racers and influencers right now. And that's a combination of carryover from, some relationships that have carried from last year and some of the new relationships that we have this year. That's pared down considerably, but we got away from that shotgun approach a long time ago. And we really, really started to put some effort into developing relationships with people that would turn into something more long-term, be more mutually beneficial. By mutually beneficial, I mean more beneficial to us, because generally we've always had good success with getting our products out to the racer. We just don't always necessarily hear anything coming back, and then we got to chase you down, and then things get awkward. And occasionally we've had to enforce our sponsorship policies, for non-follow through. And it doesn't happen often, but it has happened. And every once in a while, is cumbersome as it can be, it's a necessary thing because we do want people to know that we're really serious. We take pride in what we make. So we're not going to shotgun it out to the industry and, hope that because we're on a bunch of stuff, people want to use our stuff. We want to work with people that truly believe in our product, that have something to say and that can tell their story, not just about their relationship with AEM, but tell their story effectively to their audience, whether that's other guys in the pits or whether that's on a YouTube channel or Instagram.
Right. Now you have 38 racers that you currently sponsor, or influencers. I'll call them brand ambassadors. Are you open? Yeah. Are you open to more? Are you open to 100 or 40 or 50?
We're open to whatever makes sense.
Excellent.
And will benefit both us, obviously, as the people making the investment, and the racer, of course. We've had cases where we've had guys with great programs reach out to us, but it was really like trying to put a square peg in a round hole. And we've had to respectfully say, look, we may not be the answer. The flip side of that is we've had, some amazing stuff that's come through, and it's just, it started out as maybe taking a chance on a partial sponsorship deal. And those have developed into, really long-term, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year relationships with racers.
Fantastic.
And even down to our tech guys attend a lot of races. We like to be at as many races as we can for support. And it started off with we had a spare sensor and a guy was using all of our products and he just needed something to race with, and we gave it to him, and he reached out and showed his appreciation. And then next thing you know, we're having a conversation. Next thing you know, he's building a new car. That's an easy one. That guy is highly engaged. We already know he loves our stuff because he had already purchased everything for his previous car. That's a great opportunity to open the door and help. Conversely, the emails we get, I really want to use your product X, but if you're not interested, then I'll go to your competitor. Please go to our competitor. Please be their problem, because we don't want you. If you're fishing for free parts, it's not going to happen here.
Right. Well, AEM has, I don't know how many, but I'm going to say hundreds, if not thousands of SKUs. You have a lot of different products. So
actually we don't. We have it because we have a lot of universal products. We have a relatively small SKU count. We just cover a lot of areas. It seems like we have a lot of SKUs because you see our products in,
it seems like there's hundreds of products.
SCCA, NASA, NMCA, NMRA, IFO, obviously, H days, all the, the GRS motorsports, all the import drag racing, some domestic drag racing. You see our products in UTV, ATV, you see it in open desert. We've even got some products on some short course trucks, marine applications. So because of that, it seems like there's this huge SKU base, but it really comes down to the fact that we make a lot of parts that will work on anything. If it pumps air and makes power, odds are we're going to have something that works on your car, regardless of how many cylinders it has or whether it has any cylinders at all.
So do you have representatives for all those products, or are there any products that you may still be looking for someone to represent and sponsor to get the word out about that product?
Possibly. I mean, we're always looking for the right relationships. And I think it's really going to come down to
how the product's used in a certain race.
Yeah. I don't want to stutter, but I want to say this clearly:
well.
is it a relevant avenue for us? Is it an emerging market? Is it something that we're focusing on? Mm-hmm. Is it somewhere where we're trying to grow market share? These are all different types of things that we take into account. And then we factor in, and we do our homework. When we get a proposal and it looks pretty good, we start our due diligence before we ever respond.
Yeah, okay.
So
what do
you do? If they send links, we look at their links, and then we go deeper. We go into what they're doing, and we see what they're posting, and we read, and we look at their engagement. As far as engagement goes, again, aftermarket automotive, we're already in a niche segment, right? Now we make racing electronics. So I always like to say we're sort of an esoteric segment of the niche segment. So having for example, YouTube influencer, right? Yep. The guy's got a great YouTube channel. He's got 1 million followers. What's the quality of that follower? What kind of content is he putting out? Is he what I like to coin the phrase, is he waving the magic wand over the car and the video, and all of a sudden everything's installed and it looks great, and he's driving around and and hooning around and having fun? That's awesome. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's not necessarily the kind of person we're looking to work with. I'll take a guy with a fraction of that audience with super high engagement, because he's wrenching, he's stopping, he's taking the time to explain not only the process of how to get this thing on properly, nice, but once it's on, how it works, how it's helping him, and what some of the potential upsides could be for his audience. That's a guy that's essentially handing the keys of the kingdom to his audience, and right, you're going to see high engagement. You're going to see people that are going to get excited about that content, excited about what he's sharing, and if that happens to be our products, that's a win. Yeah, that's and perfect. I'll take that with a smaller audience over the flash of 5 or 10 second product placement, image exposure, the branding, right? The branding. Yeah. So the branding, I'll get you tons of branding. Well, eyeball impressions are great, but we can get that with Google.
Right. It's true.
What we want to do is work with people who can tell stories, who are classy, who do what they say they're going to do. And the guys that we continue to work with are the ones who tend to over deliver on what they say they're going to do.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. And that seems to make a lot of sense. Is, anybody, you and I were speaking earlier, and you were mentioning how the racers are your representatives. They are people who are representing the brand during the race, where perhaps you and your marketing team can't go. So they're an extension of the brand, and they need to represent the brand in a way that has integrity and is at the same level of the brand's integrity. And one of the things that I think is interesting is that you not only give out product, but you also offer media in some cases to some of your teams. You provide them with some content and some resources where you can take their media and their content and boost it through some of your channels, thereby giving them more reach. Explain that, how that works.
Well, we've worked with some big stuff. I mean, we're the the chosen ECU for a couple of professional race series. We did a sponsorship with TA2. They still use our ECU in all the Trans Am TA2 cars are run when they did the conversion from carburation to EFI are all run on Infinity. Same with the Rallycross, like the FIA RX lights cars, all run our ECU and things like that. And those are great relationships. And I think it proves efficacy, durability of the product, reliability of the product. But swinging around to the guys at the track, we do rely on them to be that voice, to be that brand ambassador. And when it comes to what you were talking about with providing assets and things, really that comes down to the relationship of them providing us with the assets, us providing them with the resources to share those assets. So a lot of times we work with grassroots racers, and these guys are successful on the track and they're developing their marketing reach, and they may have a few partners. So what we always express to them is, look, get us pictures, shoot, do a brain dump. Just, I don't need a well-written, 2,000 words on your weekend. I just need some highlights. What happened? What were some challenges? Was there anything specific to our products that were helpful, that benefited you this weekend? Give me some videos, even if it's on a phone. We have a video editor here, and I've told racers many times, I'm like, look, just turn the phone sideways and shoot something cool. It doesn't need to be produced. We'll produce it for you. Just get us the content. We'll take care of the rest. And what the savvy guys understand is, if they do that, now they're piggybacking their messaging out through our social channels. And even though that messaging may be about the AEM product, they're still going to see the branding of their other sponsors. And if they like what they see and they go to their page, now they've exposed their program with all of their other sponsors to a larger audience. And we're happy to facilitate that, because we tend to find that we work. The other funny thing about it is we tend to see a lot of the same non-competitive brands on the cars that we work with. And I think that's, like anything in this industry, you develop relationships with various people and companies with good quality products. So, when it's done right and the racer is doing that, you're starting to kind of get this, sorry for the cliched word, but this symbiotic flow of what's happening out there with this sponsor and everybody wins. It's a win all the way around.
These other sponsors? Do you work with these other sponsors to cross promote the racers? Do you ever have? I know you're a B2B company where you sell to distributors and retailers. Do you work with any of them or other sponsors?
We have a small e-commerce model. I won't say we're completely B2B. We just don't really compete against our customers. So we sell we sell some products. We do sell above map online, and we really do try to drive them out. And as a marketer, that can be challenging when you're trying to measure goals and things. But I've got a few tricks that give me a good indication of whether something's working or not. There have been some instances in the past over time. Again, I've been at this a long time, so done some really cool stuff. Back in the day, when we were, when a lot of guys were running Nitto drag radials, we were doing sport compact racing, and Nitto did this really cool promo. It was a promo item, but they asked if they could have permission to co-brand with us, and we're like, absolutely. So we've done some things like that. I guess the short answer is yes, when it makes sense, and and it's a win-win for both of us. So I'm sorry, hold on one second. Let me decline that. There we go. Okay.
Oh yeah, good call.
I'm on my phone. Well. So yeah. Well, I'm on my phone.
Same.
So
mine could ring any minute. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
So hey, what is your fiscal year, and when do you make budget decisions?
We run on a calendar year, and how our sponsorship budget works is we work as hard as we can in Q4 to basically project out what we know we want to do. And then from there, it becomes a discretionary budget on what kind of opportunities are out there. is if we plan everything to execute in Q1, I can guarantee by April I'm going to be upset because something will have come up that I really want to do and can't. So,
Right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Never fails, right?
yeah. So we keep so we plan as much as we can, and then we plan to execute on really good opportunities as they're presented to us.
When is a good time for a racer to meet you or to reach out to you? And should they do it through the website, or should they come and approach you at SEMA or one of the trade shows or an event that you're at?
We don't do we haven't done SEMA in a while. We will be walking it this year, and again, this year with the COVID situation, we didn't want to make any commitments to any trade shows.
Yeah,
So we
that's
won't be
common.
at SEMA or PRI, but traditionally at the trade shows, it's not really a great time. It's a great time to come up and say hi, introduce yourself, grab my card, make sure you know how to send me an email. If you hand me a proposal, I'll take it. I will eventually look at it, but I'd probably look at it faster if you came up, said hello, talked, had a conversation with me about what you're doing and is there any opportunities, and then you email it in at a later time. And
Yeah.
I've got Hunter here. He is transitioning. He's managing more of the day-to-day. So they'll come in, we evaluate, and then once we start to put the wheels in motion, Hunter is the bulldog that makes sure that everything is coming through as it should.
Nice. So how many proposals, or how, your website makes it pretty clear what you need to do in order to be considered for sponsorship. How many of those do you receive a week, a month, a year?
I would say one a day is conservatively safe estimate. Figure about 10 a week.
10 a week. All right. So
Yeah.
over 500 in a year. What
Probably.
is it that you're looking for then that could get someone to rise to the top for you to consider them, or 100 to consider them? What can a racer do to
we look at it
differentiate themselves?
Yeah. The first thing is, do they have are they using anything that we make now?
Okay. That's important.
That's a big one, because
big one.
if they aren't, why not? Because part of that might be, hey, I made the wrong choices. I purchased these things, and I now realized that, this was not the route I wanted to go. And after researching, I've discovered that, your stuff is what I need. So, that's legitimate. We've all done that. I know I have, at least. And, in my enthusiast purchasing, especially when I was young, you buy what you can afford instead of maybe what you should save up for and purchase later. And you learn those lessons, and then you become a little more sophisticated. But so do they have familiarity with AEM? Do they understand it? Do they understand what we're trying to do in their space? Or are they willing to learn about what we're trying to do and what our goals are? Do they have an audience? Again, are they an influencer? Are they a social media person? Are they a racer? Are they a little bit of both? And where does that fit in?
Right.
So again, if you're a hardcore race guy, we're probably not going to sponsor you if you're like, yeah, I'll put your sticker on my car and I'll run, I'll go to these races. It's not going to work. But if you have a race schedule and you say, yeah, livery is an element of the branding, but what I'm more interested in is telling or showing people, why I chose your product and how it's helping. Those guys, they get our attention really fast, because they understand that this is something that's going to help them, and they have an audience, and they can share with that audience how what they're doing with us is beneficial. And so that kind of language is a really that resonates with us. Again, we're a small company, and we focus on a lot of grassroots racers, and the majority of this market is grassroots. A lot of privateers out there. So finding the right ones that can tell those stories and are influential at the track, and that's a big deal. And the same thing on the influencer side is, what's their audience look like? what are they comprised of? Are they real enthusiasts? Are they just fanboys?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of engagement are they really getting?
Yeah, it's a pretty
you know,
common.
yeah. So it's not, it's not really rocket science. It's just a lot of homework and due diligence, and getting as much information you can to make an educated decision on, is it worth the first time
Right.
making that investment and taking that risk? Will there be a reward? And again, we've been doing this a while, so we tend to be right more than we're wrong now, which is good.
Good.
And those are the, generally speaking, those are the things. But what we're really looking for is somewhere in that deck or in that proposal. Are they willing to learn and work and really work with you to understand what your objectives are, and can they get that across in a natural and organic way? Because we do want it to be natural and organic. We don't want to force anybody to lie about our products, and we don't want somebody to come across as canned. We want them to be excited about our product. We just want them to take the effort to share that excitement.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now with the 500 plus 10 per week proposals that you get, are most of those online, or do you get a lot just through mail or email? And do you prefer
we don't get
one over the other, or?
No, we don't get, we don't really, I might get 3 or 4 by mail now.
Okay.
At one point we separated that out, 6, 7 years ago. We would say, hey, if you're, because we were getting even more then. And, so we separated it out. We said, hey, look, if you're a shop, a manufacturer, I mean, most manufacturers I would hope would just call me, but if you're a company, go ahead and email it in. But if you're a racer or somebody like that, please mail it in physically. And that was sort of a way just at the time to weed it out. But this is 2021. Who mails anything anymore, really? So we changed that. We just send them all in by mail. And that's how we get them. So
do you meet all your teams in person first, or have you ever sponsored a racer or a team that you have never met in person or spoken to, just through the deck or proposal that they sent to you?
Yes, but not simply on their deck or proposal.
Okay.
It would be impossible for us to meet everyone, and cost prohibitive. I mean, if we've got, a racer who's across the country, it would probably cost me half as much just to fly out there and have a conversation with the guy.
I got it.
So we, again, kind of go back to that due diligence. Everything looks good. Did they provide any references of any existing sponsors? If you do, you can guarantee, not all companies will call them. We will. So if you provide them, make sure they have good things to say about you.
Yeah, you're not bluffing on that question, right? That's a real
right.
question. Provide.
Yeah.
That's a good one, the references.
Yeah. I talked to, I work with so-and-so at this and they sponsor us. Oh, great. Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. We're going to call. And we do, or we'll shoot an email and say, hey, you're working with this guy. What do you think?
Nice.
And so we do that. And if we don't, it's not hard. I mean, if he's got a picture of the car, he's got big stickers on it. It's, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out who you need to call. Hey, you're working with this guy. Have you? And then we reach out to our other racers. Hey, what do you think of this guy? That's it's like anything. If you can't be there, and honestly, even if we were there and we had a great conversation, how many times have people presented themselves in one fashion and not delivered in another? So taking the time again, and really that's the biggest thing is sponsorship. As a sponsee, as somebody who's seeking sponsorship, you put together a deck, a proposal, you shoot out the deck, you maybe tweak some names. Hey, instead of, AEM, I'm going to find and replace all and put Garrett in there, or put, Hawk, or I'm going to put Koenig, right? Or somebody. But that's a pretty quick and easy fix. And you've done your work and you send it out. Now you're waiting to have that conversation or that follow-up. Now we're receiving a bunch of these, and every single one we get, we want to respect it, we have to take the time to vet. Now, some are pretty easy to vet, as you know, but the ones that we're on the fence on, and we take that takes time. So now extrapolate all that time. If we get 10 of these a week and 4 of them look like they might work, that's over a half a day of research before we even make a phone call.
Yeah.
And so it is labor intensive. But if you want to do it right, you don't want to waste your money. I think as a manufacturer, you need to do that due diligence, and then you need to set those timelines. And that's where Hunter's great, because he's got a calendar. And when we work with somebody, we put those deliverables into the calendar and we get reminders. And if it doesn't happen, we start that. I think we work with some amazing guys, and
Excellent.
Very rarely do we have to reach out. And usually if we do, it's oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, and everything comes right away anyway. So but that all starts with trying to figure out who we're working with to begin with.
Right.
So know that whatever you put into that proposal, anybody who's serious about potentially working with you, they are going to check everything. Or I can't speak for every company, but I can tell you, if you approach us, we're going to check.
Yeah, that makes sense. So Tammy's waving at me. She's saying that we have a couple questions in the chat room, or no?
Okay. No.
She has to turn her mic on, but
actually, it seemed as if you answered the first question just now about how long you guys spend on checking those and reviewing a potential ambassador.
Yeah.
Why don't you read the question? Just go ahead and read.
Read the question. I'll give you some rough numbers, but
read it the way it was written.
How much time do you spend on reviewing a potential marketing ambassador?
Okay.
If they approach you the right way.
Good question. Legitimate question. If it's a real proposal, and depending on how deep it goes, an hour, anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how much we want to cross check, or how much, then we start sending out some emails. The whole process, again, on our end, it isn't just the product commitment. We've got, when you're working with us as a sponsor, we understand there's timelines and things, and we want you to be successful. So that automatically gives you sort of a fast track into, our technical support. There's the marketing side of it. Send us deliverables. We'll make sure that we increase your exposure. Win-win for you, for us, and for your other partners. But once we start that conversation, there's always the back and forth. There's a clear definition of what our expectations are. Can they be met? And if everything's verbally agreed to, the next thing that goes out as a proposal is essentially our proposal. And that proposal gets completed and filled out, signed, or returned. And then we start the processing. And then we have the onboarding element. So each individual sponsorship really takes it to do. We found to do it right. It takes several hours from soup to nuts. And that's just to get it up.
And that's just to consider. And then
right. That's to consider, to activate, to everything else. And now we've got it on the calendar. And now that's one of 37, 38, 40 other racers that we're keeping track of, making sure that we're getting those commitments fulfilled.
Wow. Right on. Was there another one, Tammy?
This one was, the question is, are you interested in partnering with an established motorsport race and vintage car series for 2022, assuming you are not already involved? And then that
sounds a little vague there. Right.
Yeah, that's the kind of question that gets a no.
He's going to need more information on that one. Yeah, he's going to need a lot more info on that one.
The answer is maybe send a proposal or send a deck. Send a deck and I'll take a look. Now what I will say to that person who asked that question is, we don't do a whole lot in the vintage market. And it's really not an area of focus for us. So in fairness, go to our website, take a look at what we're doing, go on social media, search AEM hashtags, take a look at who's using our products. Does that align with your property? Because if it doesn't, you might be saving yourself some time. If it does, then yeah, send us a deck.
All right, excellent. That's a good answer. For those racers who are looking for the next opportunity to get with AEM, perhaps they use a variety of your products. Are there any areas right now that you might be looking for someone to focus on? A certain new product that just came out, or a certain series that uses telemetry or something that's new, or some new oil pressure sensor, or anything that you're coming out with? Is there something that you're trying to promote that you possibly would use one of the people on the call to help get that word out?
We've got pretty good penetration right now. We're always looking for strong voices. So really, I guess it comes down to answer that. I'll answer that with a question. Is the person who's looking at us, do they have what we're looking for?
Nice.
So that we can help them.
There you go.
That's what I want to know. Or do they have what we're, because if you have what we're looking for, then we're already over halfway there.
Right. Yeah. No, that's a really valid point. That's a real valid point. And now we're entering September tomorrow, 1st of September.
Yeah.
So here we are, nearing fourth quarter next month, and all that's when your sponsorship decisions are going to be made for next year.
We'll start planning. Yeah. We'll start planning. We'll start seeing the racing. Racing is going to wrap up here in another month or two, and those guys will be hot and heavy, and we love it. I mean, it's exciting because we talk with the guys we've worked with already, and we figure out what we're going to do for the following year. But we also start to get some new stuff in and take a look and see whether those opportunities, whether these are aligning with some of the objectives that we have. And for us, I don't know if everyone's aware, we launched a performance EV division a few years ago. So I'll preface that by saying we're not looking to sponsor anyone in EV right now. Nor are we really entertaining any sponsorship proposals for EV. But I will say that the bulk of our new product development recently has been on that side of it. That said, hop on our website, sign up for our email alerts. If you see new products dropping and it aligns with what you're doing,
there we go.
That's a great opportunity to reach out and say, hey, I think I might be able to help you. I have this audience, I have this, I race this, and I need, this part will help me help you get it out to the masses. And it's little things like that, that I think the savvy racer, the savvy influencer, these guys pay attention, and they look for the opportunity as well. It's not oh no, we got to solve this problem. Let's start going down the laundry list of companies that might be able to help us. We're looking for the guy we're looking for the guy that's has a level of familiarity with our products and knows it'll help, and wants that mutually beneficial relationship. He wants the support and the product and the opportunity to solve the problems with his passion. We want to be able to share his story, and we want him to be able to tell that story to his audience, his or her, excuse me, because we do have some amazing girls out there too.
Of course they are. There's some crazy.
We sponsor a couple of them. Yeah.
Crazy fast.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this little, interview segment, and then we're going to jump over to the one-on-one here in just a minute. Is there anything that you'd like to, any advice you'd like to offer racers, something I maybe forgot about or didn't cover, any last words of wisdom that you would offer to someone on the call if they're looking to approach either AEM or any company that's also in the aftermarket parts industry who operates, I think they all operate pretty much the same. It's about performance. It's not so much about exposure. For endemic brands, what kind of words of wisdom do you have?
Well, for the racer looking for endemic brands, reach out to people you believe in, reach out to companies you believe in. Don't go fishing. It's pretty easy to see, and believe it or not, there's, the industry is big, but it's small. And if you do that enough, your name's going to start popping up. And it's a quick way out and a quick way to get blacklisted. What I tell a lot of racers, because they'll come and they'll be like, oh, we want you to be the title, and we're going to put an 8-foot sticker across the side of the car, and we're going to do the trailer and this, and all we need is 150 grand. And I go, it's not going to happen. If you're looking for money, look for non-endemic sponsors whose demographic fits your audience.
Exactly.
And work with them, again, and a lot of these, non-endemic, it can be challenging to try to find some of the people who make the decisions. And some of the people there, at these non-endemic companies are looking for the massive numbers. They're looking for the huge influencer side, the branding. But some of them will understand that you reach a core segment that, by virtue of the fact, even though your numbers are smaller, your audience is an audience of influencers, and the savvy ones who get that and understand that what you're doing matches, your audience demographic matches exactly the type of people they want to reach. There's opportunity there. There's also opportunity because a lot of those companies tend to have bigger budgets to get a little more creative and out of the box. This is if you have open pit times, you have opportunities for that. Some of these companies will come and open up their own booth and cross market, or have people in your pits and actually be able to help crew for you in a sense that they can take care of the crowds around your thing and then promote their product and activate, all under the guise of the relationship, not the guise, it's kind of a crappy word to use, I apologize, but under, it's all umbrellaed underneath your program. And it makes it very clear that you're working with them and they're supporting you. And it creates that really great opportunity for them, not only to push their digital and social channel stuff out, but get that live activation that's, as again, going back to marketing, right? Boots on the ground, having that opportunity to get that real live interaction and touch the customer and tell your story that way. So, so there's some opportunities there. Your endemic guys, make it stuff you believe in. And, and I think if you stick to those fundamental principles and you at minimum deliver on what you say you're going to deliver on, you're going to do fine. If you figure out a way to over deliver a little bit, you're probably going to have them call you at the end of the term and figure out how they can work, because I can tell you firsthand, that's what I do for the guys that over deliver. Yeah. For the guys that over deliver, they're my first call in December, or November. Hey, what are we doing next year? How can we help?
So for guys that are already running your product and they have it on their race car and they don't need it the second year because they already got it the first year, what's the likelihood of a renewal? Or are you offering anything in addition to the product they got last year when you renew? Or most sponsorships shorter term?
No, our sponsorships tend to be a year to 2 years, and from a commitment standpoint, and sometimes look, things are somewhat consumable, especially in racing. I mean, these guys are pushing things to the ragged edge, so things can wear out. Things can, but maybe it's sensor refresh, spares, stuff like that. Maybe it's other things that I don't necessarily want to share with you because they're sort of a confidential deals that we have, but we typically find a way. And if not, that's okay. But I've got some racers that they eventually build a new car, but we've been on some cars 4 or 5 years and they're running our product. But sometimes it's just the opportunity to continue to work together. I remember one season, Kerry Bales, who, I don't know if you know Kerry, he's
never met
very
him.
well renowned import drag racer, had a S2000, was the fastest pro stock pass ever made. Went out, hurt a bunch of feelings of domestic guys, and used to go to NHRA. And then he, we campaigned on his car. He used our products, and then he was one of those guys. We met him at the track and gave him a deal on a couple things, and and he sent all this stuff back, and he sent assets, pictures, and videos, and things, and stories, and talking with us, and it was just an amazing technical relationship as well. Kerry's a very smart guy. But we've had seasons where Kerry was like, hey, look, like, I'll call you if I need something. I just want to maintain our relationship.
Excellent.
that to me says that we're doing everything right on our end. Obviously, the
that's
fact that I'm reaching out to Kerry, but Kerry, after a few years, built a new car. We supported that new car. He's building another new car right now. We're supporting that car, and that's that's having a long view of things, I guess. And it doesn't happen all the time, but we definitely have more than a handful of those guys that we work with, and we feel very, very blessed and fortunate that we've made those relationships, because those guys, they're AEM through and through, and and we're big fans of them. So we're eager to promote everything that they do as well.
That's a great story. I like that. I like hearing that. And as I told you, this was going to go fast. You and I are a great conversationalists.
We're running out of time.
We're at 55 minutes already. We're already 5 minutes over.
I hope I provided some good information for your audience, and thank you to everybody who
you did great.
Is in right now.
What I'd like to do now is I'd like to let some of the audience and the attendees ask you questions. So I'm going to turn this camera off, and we're going to end the webinar, and then we'll stay on for a few minutes where I'll let some people just ask you one-on-one. I have no idea what they're going to say or who they are, because I don't know who's on the call today. But well, let's have some fun with it. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. This is great. Lawson, hang in there. I'll be right back.
Thank you. I will.